When you're DJing, do your mixes make musical sense progressing naturally? Confused? Well, in this video, I'm going to show you how to count like a DJ and how to mix so that everything falls into place naturally and everything makes a whole lot of sense. Let's get into it. Okay, when it comes to counting like a DJ, there are three different levels. Take any piece of modern pop music, electronic music, R&B tracks, whatever, okay, and focus first and foremost on the kick drum. That is the main drum that is driving the track forward. You know, that boom, 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 and it could be any BPM. Imagine that kick drum is this circle, all right? 1, 1, 1, 1, okay? If you can do this, you are counting in what is known as beats. Now, if you notice here, I've actually drawn this as a group of 4. That is because beats in most electronic music and also modern pop music are actually arranged in groups of 4. Don't ask me why that is some serious music theory, but all you need to know is that groups of beats are arranged in groups of 4. Okay, now if you can count like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, okay, you are now counting in what is known as bars. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, okay. So that's level 2. So level 1 is the beats, level 2 are the bars. Now, these bars are actually arranged in groups of 4s, okay? So let me explain with here. 1, 2, 3, 4. You have to imagine these are all evenly spaced, but here we have got what is known as a 4-bar phrase. So groups of bars are arranged in phrases. So if you're counting bars, you're going 1, 2, 3, 4. Here you're going to be counting in phrases. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4. Now, a phrase is a multiple of 4. So, of course, here we've just got a 4-bar phrase. That is actually quite rare in music. Most phrases are arranged in groups of 8, 16, 32, or even 64 bars. And what is really important when you know how to count phrases is to match the phrases of the records, and that will help your mix to make musical sense. Hopefully my very technical diagrams there made sense, but if they didn't, do not worry. I'm now going to jump onto the controller and show you mixing phrases live in action. Very quickly before I do so, all DJs need a record collection. The fastest way to build up a record collection in 2025 is still the trusty record pool, and my record pool of choice for 2025 is Heavy Hits. They have a really comprehensive range of music, and if you don't believe me, check out my full review on the channel, and if you want to try it out, you can sign up using my discount code for just $5 in your first month. That is literally the price of a cup of coffee. On with the demonstration. Okay, so I've got my good old trusty FLX4 here just to show you this demonstration, and I've got a couple of tracks loaded here by my good friend Tempo Electric. So first and foremost, what I'm going to show you is how to listen out for new phrases starting within tracks. Remember, those phrases are groups of bars which are in multiples of 4. And then once I've shown you how to identify when different phrases start, I'll show you the differences of mixing when you are off phrase and also on phrase. And this will show you how your mixes will make a lot more musical sense. Let me demonstrate first and foremost. Let's get this track started. The good thing with rekordbox as well, if you look at the bottom of the waveform, it will also count up the number of bars. So notice there at the end of 8 bars, so as we move into the 9th bar, the track kind of changed. There was a couple of extra drums in there, and also the track kind of progressed a little bit. So we introduced a tiny bit of vocal introduction there. So I'm just going to play that again. Here we go, ready? And at the end of another 8 bars, so at the end of 16 bars, it will do exactly the same. So I'm going to fast forward. Here we go. So this is the end of end of 16 bars and moving on again. So it's another phrase. So the track is progressing. Now, of course, this track is structured every 8 bars as a phrase. However, other tracks can be 16 bars, it could be 64 bars, it could be 32. Like, they're always in multiples of 4. It just depends on how the producer has produced the tracks, but it is always in multiples of 4. Now, here, there are quite obvious changes when a new phrase begins. However, if it's a longer track, so 8 or 9 minutes, maybe it's progressive house, it can be a little bit more subtle. So it could almost be like an extra drum beat or a quick duck of the bass or the kick, and then it is reintroduced. But those are the markers that you are looking for. Okay, so now that you understand how to identify where different phrases start and those telltale signs as to when a new phrase starts, I'm now going to give you a demonstration of a mix. First and foremost, we're going to do it off phrase. It will be beat matched together, but you will see that it doesn't really make musical sense. And then we'll do exactly the same mix, but we'll mix it on phrase, and you can see how much more natural the mix sounds. So I've skipped through the track a little bit here. I've just got a cue point set up here just so that you can imagine that this track is playing out to the crowd, because obviously I'm not going to show you the whole track because we'll just be sat around for minutes. But first and foremost, let's start this, and we will start the second track on beat but not in phrase. So you can see there that the tracks were beat matched together. Yeah, I had to do a little bit of adjustment there, but the tracks are pretty much beat matched together. But the intro of the second track was still going on by the time I wanted to mix out of the first track, which didn't make a lot of musical sense. And the crowd, if you do this constantly, especially over longer mixes, the crowd are just going to be a little bit confused. Don't get me wrong, you can get away with it a few times in a night. Like, I still sometimes get phrases wrong, but it just doesn't really make as much sense as it could do. However, this time what we're going to do is we're going to start both the tracks. Now, you have to imagine track 1 is playing out to the crowd. It's not just starting when I'm starting it, but we're going to start both tracks together so that they are in phrase, all right? And you'll see how much more musical sense that this mix will make. This is playing out to the crowd, remember? So by the time of, obviously I had to adjust the beats, the BPM there a little bit because it didn't quite sound in time. But when you're beat matched together, the second breakdown there was starting just as the first breakdown there was starting. So the mix made a lot more sense. But that is the basics of phrase mixing. That is how to take your mixes to the next level. And the more you do this, the more it just falls naturally into place. So there we have it. I hope that you have found this video useful and that everything makes sense. If you do have any questions on this topic, do leave them in the comments down below. Please do give me a thumbs up if you have made it this far. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I will catch you in the next video.